Okay, we got a great surprise. Sheriff Warnke is now on Zoom, and we're going to try to get him in. The letter we just read, or that Marianne just read from him, we now have him live on Zoom. So let's see if we can get him going here. Okay, hey, this is Sheriff Mack, and I've just told everybody you look a lot older than the last time we saw each other.
Yeah, exactly. Sheriff Mack, good to see you again.
Thank you, brother. We're turning the time over to you. You have about 10 to 15 minutes.
Okay, well, I hardly know where to start except for the fact that I know that you read the letter that I sent to Governor Newsom. Very aggravating, and most of the sheriffs in this state, there's 58 of us, and I'll say at least 50 of them were on the same page as me. It's just an absolutely frustrating position to be in, and he was wanting all the local, especially the sheriffs, to enforce his orders, and most of us said, no way. And it just got to the point where he had his chief of law enforcement send me an email wanting to know if I was going to support him in enforcing this COVID stuff. And, well, you guys read the letter, and I was very poignant to the issue. I don't believe for a minute that the governor or of any state should have the official right to tell people you need to stay at home. You can't open your business. You can't do this and that, and then rely on a local elected sheriff to enforce what he is demanding. So we've been working here locally with the police chiefs and myself have all been in communication, and they're standing by me on the enforcement issues, so they're not running in. Now, there are some times when we'll do some education. We'll go in and say, hey, wear your mask, wash your hands, and that should be done every day, no matter what. When they start talking about this pandemic or scamdemic is what I'm hearing, I'm very frustrated. But I was elected to represent the people and make sure that we have the right, we as people have the right to make our decisions. And for the businesses, I believe fully that the governor should have said, hey, businesses, while you're opening, please do this while you're open to ensure safety. Well, the state has got certain rights, I guess, under the licensing for hairdressers and so on. And what I find interesting is the places he has closed, there's been not one confirmed case come from any of those type of places. However, you can go to the local Walmart and be elbow to elbow with everybody in there, and they're catching it in there, but they're allowed to stay open because they're essential. So it's just very frustrating on the dynamics. And the other thing that's frustrating here is that we get moving in one direction, and all of a sudden he changes the goalposts on us, and next thing you know, I've got a different target to aim at. It's been I've been very supported here in this county with regarding to how we're handling the businesses, and it's got so much so that the governor has reached out to Cal Fire, which is the state fire agency, and they're going to businesses. Well, I got one of the business owners contacted me, and then I directed myself to the OES director, and we had a nice long conversation, and he fully understands what powers they have and don't have, and that every enforcement action comes through my office. So it's been a battle every day. I've loved being a cop. September 14th will be 41 years for me here at the sheriff's office. And I get up every morning going, yes, I'm so glad to be at work. But since this COVID thing, I got to tell you, it's been the most frustrating time in my life because of the different bureaucracies that are going on. And I don't know what you're dealing with in Snohomish County. And Sheriff, I don't know what you've had to deal with these public entities, namely public health, but there's like so many people thinking that they have the rule on that, and they don't. And I have to keep reminding them because they want to send somebody out to enforce something, and I made it very clear. Anybody attempts that, they're going to have to deal with me directly. So far we've had good relations with the business owners, but they're very frustrated. There's a lot of them that'll never open again. So, and I know that that's what the case here, and I was reading the bio on a gentleman that's a barber, and it was with the help of the constitutional law folks that helped him get back open. Well, what I would like to be able to do is find a way that I could sue the state here myself and put the onus back into the county's hands. The state coming down and telling us how to dictate or telling us that he's going to dictate how we rule when my county is different than Los Angeles County. Two different entities, but he's thinking that the same blanket should cover all the counties. So we need to get this thing rolling, and I was so glad to hear from you guys regarding this conference. Any questions?
Okay, he wants to know how the chiefs of police in the various jurisdictions in your jurisdiction, how they feel about the governor's orders and maybe push back there.
They're as frustrated as I am, but I'm in a very unique position as far as the law enforcement leaders. They are all governed by the mayor or city council and such, so they have somebody else to answer to that they can be fired at a whim. And so they're kind of having to do the tap dance, but because of my stance on enforcement and then my authority within this county, they're just deferring everything to the sheriff so that way they can do the dance around without losing their jobs. I had to joke with somebody that it was like I was reading Sheriff Mack's book again. It was like Beetlejuice. I thought of him about 3 or 4 times, and next thing you know, we're talking now. So I appreciate this opportunity here. So I'd love to know what any of you are thinking or what else could be done. And I'm looking at some questions here. Excuse me, putting my cheaters on.
So, Sheriff, you're telling everybody here to make sure they buy my book. Is that right?
That's it. You buy that book and read it. Start talking. How can you lock up any?
Hi, Sheriff. I got a question.
Okay.
Can you see me?
So I don't know.
Can you guys hear me? Hi.
No.
I got a question. So you were just mentioned the health district, or working with other health or other entities within the county. How are you dealing with them? And can you explain a little bit more about what their authority is compared to yours? Yeah, thank you.
Well,
I'm getting help here.
Well, they have a certain amount of authority based upon, of course, history, and the public health director can say, you know, we don't want any typhoid Marys running around, and I get that. But what I did is I embedded. I've got a special enforcement group from my office set. It's a sheriff's enforcement team with a lieutenant, a sergeant, some deputies, and they are embedded at public health. So that way they know they can't get away with a lot of the stuff. So all the stuff comes through them. I'm getting 2 or 3 emails every day from one of my lieutenants giving me updates on what's going on in that aspect of it. But the frustrating part here is because we are embedded, I know the truth about some of these things that are coming out. We've been going through the list of people that have been documented to have COVID, and we're finding the same names on that list over and over again. So they're counting their people several times so that the numbers are that skewed. And it's very frustrating because the media gets on this stuff and says, oh my gosh, the sheriff's got 500 people now got COVID. Well, at that number, I'll bet there's probably 30 people, and there's been counted numerous times. So the numbers aren't accurate because you got different people in different areas calling the shots, and then we get the final printout, and then that's what it is. We brought it to their attention, hoping they'll straighten that out. But again, with this COVID thing, we've got people that are on hospice for cancer and everything else, but when they die, they test for COVID. Oh, they died of COVID, not the cancer that they were getting treated for and on hospice for. And I made a comment about a guy swimming in the Pacific Ocean. If he gets eaten by a shark and he tests positive for COVID, they're going to list it as a COVID death. So it's a very frustrating thing, and I would like to know through our constitutional law group, and I would like to sit down and have a personal conversation about what the authority of the sheriff has regarding to the governor, because he is also elected. Although he's got no peace officer powers, I want to know what the authority is, because you know it's crazy in this state, and as anybody knows, most Californians want to be in Idaho. So
yeah, Sheriff, my name's Ken Hall. I'm from Omaha, Nebraska, and we've been trying to fight our governor and some of the mayors in Lincoln and Nebraska and Omaha over the mandatory mask thing. I've had a number of people telling me that they had been called and told that they were tested positive for COVID that never had the test.
Yeah, and that's happened several times here.
Right.
I've heard it first person. So it'd be like if I'm talking to my next door neighbor and he went to sign up, and that's the difference. These people are signing up, and why I don't know, because there's no treatment. You just treat the symptoms. Right. But they're signing up. They get down there. There's a 5-hour wait, and they say, well, heck with this. 2 days later, they got notice that they were tested positive.
Yeah, and that's
been up and down this valley.
Yeah, and that's been happening all over the country, obviously. Now, my question is there any way to conduct an investigation? Because, I mean, that's fraud. I mean, if they're claiming that they had a positive result to a test that they never took, at one level, does that become a criminal, offense? And because I mean, it wouldn't take but 1 or 2 people being threatened with jail before I think maybe that would slow down.
And I agree with you on the fraud aspect of it. However, there's one thing there. A lot of these people, because they're working say there's 40 people in this one area, and the computer spits out this stuff, they're going to blame the computer. It's not like one person sat down and said, I'm just going to automatically send this. A lot of this is computer generated, and I'm thinking that wrong buttons are being pushed. Don't know if we can show intent, but we can show ignorance or stupidity. But I don't know that we can go criminal on them based upon that. If we could find a criminal aspect of it, you bet your butt I'd find a way to put him in my jail. And that's the other issue. We caught a guy 2 nights ago for burglarizing a rancher out in the county. Caught him in the act. Deputies had to write a ticket because the California Supreme Court says that we can't arrest people because that was considered a nonviolent crime.
God help us.
What the heck? So,
hey, Sheriff, this is Rick Martin with the Constitutional Law Group. One of the things that we have started, and this was last week, I had warned one of the supervisors from the health department to stop infringing on the rights of a restaurant out there in California. And after the 3rd time, I had the restaurant owner go to the sheriff's department and file a claim of harassment and trespass on the health inspector supervisor, and the sheriff picked it up. So if we can start going into this, because what the people have to realize is that licensing is a contract. There's nothing in that licensing that even states anything about COVID-19 in there. They're supposed to keep their establishment clean and things of that nature. There's no provisions in there that step it up another step. You can't change a contract once that contract is agreed to by both parties. So the way we're going after this is Contract Law 101. And that's the basis of our law right there, is saying, hey, we made an agreement. I'm doing this to have a liquor license. I'm doing this. I'm not going to serve minors. I'm not going to serve after hours. I'm not going to serve intoxicated people. Those are the conditions of that licensing. And then we now hold the health department, ABC's feet to the fire on this one, because it does not say anything in that contract where they can supersede that contract with a COVID-19. And I'm just let that simmer in a little bit, and that's how we're handling it now against the health departments and ABC.
Well, like I say, I've got my people embedded. What I'd like to do is offline, I'd like you to give me the information on the sheriff's office that's doing that if it's in California. And I don't want to reinvent a wheel. If they've got something that's working, let's work with that. The other thing I have for you constitutionally, read up where it says, that once a declaration of emergency has been declared, he's got 60 days to get it passed as a law, and he hasn't done that yet. It's like he gets close to it, and then he does a sidestep, sets the end zone a different location. Is there some way that we can get into or get our teeth into that? Because he's not even following the Constitution with regard to this, and yet the Attorney General and everybody else that seems to be in that area is allowing this to happen. How can we get in and do this if he isn't following the Constitution there?
Okay, this is a real easy question. There's no executive order, no emergency powers that supersede the Constitution. The Constitution is a contract between we the people and the government. Okay, we only delegated limited powers to our government to protect our rights, protect our borders, and to coin our money. Those emergency powers are to be adhered to in the very lenient positions. And when we're getting into emergency powers, you can look into what the emergency powers are. And what they're doing right now, the executive orders, I brought up here a case from 1990 on the wetlands issue. And the Attorney General in Washington State even said that the executive powers are only suggestions. And that's coming from a 1990 wetlands deal. These emergency powers and executive orders are only mere suggestions. They cannot be held up by force of law.
Okay. I'm all for that. I like to have the California Alcohol Beverage Control come down and try and do something. They actually went down to one place, and as far as I know, and the guy hasn't complained to me, but I heard it through like a third person, shut down one of our local taverns because they were open on there was a Saturday that they were open, and it apparently upset somebody. And the governor, who obviously does not have kind word to say about me, and I don't care. I've got a lot of friends. Sent a strike, his term, strike force, into our county this last week, and they couldn't find anything. They couldn't do anything, and the bottom line was because I have my team embedded, and they were going, okay, now what? So having my team embedded in there has prevented a lot of this from going on. But if I do get something here within this county, even including into the incorporated cities, if I can get these business owners to start writing complaints with regard to these folks coming out there trespassing and harassing, I'd like to be able to tangle that one up.
That's a go right there. And another thing that we can also consider is we've got to educate the people on the social distancing, and all this is all nonsense hooey. The first bar that I opened up was a bar in northwestern Pennsylvania. They opened up on the 21st of March. At 2 o'clock in the morning, they were invaded by the state troopers. The state troopers said that he was going to fine every one of the patrons $500, and the business owner, the bar owner, $1,000 for being open. And they got me on the phone immediately. I got the phone call at 1 o'clock in the morning, Texas time. And within 5 minutes explaining the law to the state troopers, they apologized to the bar owner and left the establishment. That bar is still open to this day. No social distancing, no face mask wearing, and they're being protected by their sheriff now, who we got involved as well when we had another issue. Is the night after I ran them out, they were starting to park down the street and pull people over for DWI, harassment. And we got the sheriff involved, and we ran the state police out of there. So by the grace of God, you sheriffs are really doing your jobs out there and protecting the people from intrusive government. Do you have any final words for us there, Sheriff?
Keep the faith. I've got a lot of folks that have been contacting me about different things, and one thing that we have a tendency to forget is we're the people that are praying. We got to get the prayer back. We got to get God back.
Amen.
The God that we
Amen.
Everything to. We have to get Him involved, keep Him involved, because you know what? Having that guidance is also a wonderful thing to have. By standing up strong is getting on your knees and asking for that help. I do it every single day. I'm very glad, and I'm willing to keep going with the fight. Of course, it makes my lovely bride of 40 years a little nervous, but that's all right. She stuck by me through everything, and she'll stick by me here. And when we got the phone call, I had told her what I was doing. She was, oh my God, they're poking the bear. And that's me. So let's keep it going. And I would really, truly like to have a meeting with the law firm so that we can sit down, because I'm willing to move forward on a lot of this, because I've got a lot of businesses that are closing up because of this. And I'm willing to stand tall on this. Let's do it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I do have one question that's going to come to you. They want to know how you got people embedded in ABC and the health department.
At the very beginning, I was asked by the CEO of the county what my thoughts were, and I said, yeah, I'm not going to get this secondhand. So I'm one of the fortunate sheriffs in this state. I'm fully staffed, and I've got a waiting list of people that want to work here. And I've got a few specialized teams now because of the full staffing, and I was able to embed that team strictly into that the public health unit. And believe me, they don't like it. They had people the first 2 weeks of this pandemic called in sick. They were going out on stress because they couldn't deal with the people crying that they were dealing with. And I thought, holy moly, we do this every single day, and these guys and literally they lost a lot of employees. So we're in there, we're still in there, and like I say, I'm not pulling my people out, and the CEO doesn't want me out. He wants us down because he needs the support here. And there's a fortunate part here that we're going to continue on with what we got to do. But I would really like to explore options as on how we can do this and get Sacramento off our business owners' backs and get them back open, because his cure for this is worse than the disease. So anything I can do on that aspect, if you guys can come up with something, let me know, because I'm all for it. And Sheriff Mack, I got to thank you for your inspiration again. When you came out and spoke before I was elected sheriff, it meant a lot to me, and I really appreciate what you've done for our sheriffs, and this is going to continue to roll up. So I thank you, sir.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Sheriff,
I'm Robert J. Sutherland. I'm a state representative here in Washington. I serve down in Olympia with 98 other representatives. I want to, on behalf of everyone that is here, we want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts for what you do, standing up for the people's rights. We're here. We want to know what more we can do, and we see people like you taking the lead and doing what needs to be done. On behalf of everyone here, can we give him a round of applause for everything he does? Sheriff, I don't know if you can see us, but we're all standing and we're giving you a hearty round of applause. Thank you.
It's an honor to be associated with a fine group like this. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Sheriff Warnke. And one of my favorite memories was going there to campaign for him. Great area, great people, and a great sheriff.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, and Godspeed.
See you soon.